Okay, all right, I'm going to be dead honest in this video. So, about a month or two ago, I went to Amsterdam, and this was my fourth time of going to Amsterdam. So, I've been to Amsterdam two times by myself and one time with my girlfriend. And every time I've been, I've gone and done truffles. This time, a couple of months back, I went with five of my close mates, and whilst we were over there, we did a lot of different things. But one of the things we did was truffles. And I've done that every single time of going to Amsterdam. Now, this experience was a lot different for me. And I'm not somebody that's going to be a heavy promoter for doing drugs. I don't want it to sound like this. I'm only using this as an example for this video. So, I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for psychedelics, and I do think there's positive effects you can get from them, but I'm not a heavy promoter on drugs. So, yeah, going to this experience in Amsterdam with Tut Truffles, and I remember reaching basically a point of inner peace where I felt as if I could not be any more peaceful than this state I'm in. So we walk around the park, and basically this is what the point of the video is. As we were walking, we seen the most ridiculous, silly stuff, and it was making us all crack up with laughter, and we literally tears streaming from our face because of how much we were laughing. But one thing occurred to me from this experience, and that was simply the world is ridiculous, and you need to stop taking it so seriously. You need to stop taking it so seriously, because I myself have been somebody that's took life so seriously. But this experience actually allowed me to see reality from another lens. And I guess that's what drugs do. But coming off the back of that experience, now I see life a bit differently, and I'm not taking it as seriously. And I think that's hugely important not to do that, because when you take life seriously, you basically place so much importance on every little aspect of what you do in your daily life. And what tends to happen when you do that is you place such high standards on yourself, you place great expectations on yourself, and when you inevitably don't hit those expectations or those standards, you end up riddling yourself with shame. Shame is a really bad thing, and it is there for a reason. At the end of the day, we need to process shame and, regulate it in a healthy manner. But the thing is, we never really learn how to do this with our emotions. We never get taught in school, oh, this is how you process your emotions. So if it doesn't come naturally to you, then you just naturally bottle it all up and you don't know how to process it. But shame really is something that tends to hold us back, because with shame, it can be with loads of different things. You might have shame around your job. You might have shame around your relationship. You might have shame around your personal habits. It could be anything really. But when you stop placing so much importance on it, what happens then is you start forgiving yourself. And when you start forgiving yourself, you start accepting yourself for who you are. And that's when shame loses its grip hold of you. And that's why you feel a lot more freer in every walk of life. So therefore, things don't affect you as much. You don't place so much emotional attachment on things, because at last you're not taking it as seriously. And the thing is, there's so many people out there that are taking the world so seriously. You know what I'm talking about. You know the people. You see them every day. The executives that are taking their job so seriously to the point where they can't show any kind of laughter, any kind of showing some sense of emotion. They don't do. Because why? Because they associate that with weakness. Unfortunately, they do, and that's why we live in this society, and a lot of it is trying to oppress people and suppress emotions. And that's why you see a lot of executives of companies, they rarely show emotions. They're super transactional people, and they only deal with logic. Now, this can work in business settings, but as a whole, for life in general, this is not a viable option, because that's not what life's about. It's not purely about business and making money and making deals. You know, if that's what it was all about, then yeah, great. They're doing fantastic at that. But it's not. Life isn't one dimensional, it's multi-dimensional. There's loads of different facets to life, and it's important to be good at something, I guess, find something you're good at, and find a way to monetize it, because most societies in the world, that is the way it functions, and it's probably the best way for a functioning society. But at the end of the day, these executives, I'm telling you right now, I'm being deadly serious, they are not happy. If they are somebody that really struggles with their emotions, and why do they do that? Because they're taking everything so seriously. This is the whole point of the video. And it is good to work hard, absolutely. But it's not good to work hard at something that doesn't benefit you. So, I'll leave the video on that. Moral of the story, stop taking life so seriously. Why? Because you feel freer in everyday life. You're not overthinking so much. You're not constantly living in your head. You just experience life, and there's a sense of acceptance there, which is super powerful. If you come to a level of self-acceptance, forget self-improvement, self-acceptance, accept you for who you are, and chill out. You know, there is a time to relax, and there's also a time to work. Find the balance.